Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to talk to you guys about kind of the paid experience, the in-app purchases of Marvel Future Fight and of video games, specifically mobile video games at large. The reason why I want to talk to you guys about this, although a lot of the information may appear very obvious to you guys, or it may appear to just be of no consequence. Either you spend money on this game or you don't, and if you do, that's great, and if you don't, that's great too. And I still do hold that opinion, but I think it's really important to understand certain things in order to be able to speak more eloquently and more accurately about important topics. So in yesterday's video in particular, when we talked about Carnage's uniform, I did see a lot of people who thought that it's unfair to give a paywall character, or it's bad for free-to-play players if a paywall character gets a uniform. And while on some level I can understand what's being said, I do think that there needs to be a larger, more important conversation had first about this game, and then in particular other games that employ different kinds of in-app purchasing strategies in order to monetize their games, okay? So of course we have to first accept the fact that this is not a charity game, that no video game in the history, well, maybe not in the history, but most video games are made to turn a profit, like a movie, like a piece of music. There's art behind it, absolutely. There's a message behind it, sure, in most cases, but there's also a drive to be successful, and a lot of that success is measured by if you make money or not. And money also helps developers further develop the game, right? If the game makes no money, there's no point in introducing new characters and introducing new content, downloadable content for alpha games or games in beta notwithstanding, because that's a bullshit practice. And it also reflects the community's feeling. If a game is good but no one wants to spend money on it, fair play, try something new. Nobody knew 10 years ago that Clash of Clans and Clash Royale was going to be so successful. Now this tiny Finnish company of less than 200 workers is grossing like more than $1 billion a year. So, the community speaks with their dollar. And that's why it's important to have this conversation, because not only do I want you guys to be able to speak correctly with your dollar, but I also want you to be able to understand what your dollar is speaking to you about the game that you're playing. And that's, I think, what's a little bit misleading, or what's being lost in the conversation sometimes. People don't really understand. They see these big numbers in the store. They see, wow, this costs over $100. That's crazy. They're so greedy. And they get this perception of a game developer that's very shallow and just missing a lot of the important topics. So I want to talk about first Marvel Future Fight's system for in-app purchases. Then I want to talk about a couple of other ones, and I want to hit on some more nefarious types, and then finally bring it back to what I think it says about us and what we can take away from it. So in general, I think that Marvel Future Fight, personally, I think it has a very good in-app purchasing system. It's not a cosmetic purchasing system, because the things you buy do impact your progression in the game. So you can get ahead by spending money. That fact is true, and that's the first kind of obstacle, or the first category you need to put the game into. A game like Path of Exile, for example, you do not get ahead in the game by paying money. You can make certain things easier by unlocking more inventory space and more stash slots and stuff like that, but you will not become stronger or faster or better at the game, better at killing mobs by spending money. So that is a purely cosmetic or for ease of play type of in-app purchase system, and that's not even a mobile game, that's a PC ARPG. A game like Future Fight, for example, a game like Marvel Heroes, you can progress more, you can progress faster if you spend money on the game. I got Dormammu very quickly. Thank you for being disconnected from the game while I'm making the video, Netmarble. But I can get Dormammu a lot faster than you can if I'm willing to spend the crystals, which basically equals money, on the hidden tickets. And that's exactly what I did. However, within that zone of paying money to progress, there are different systems at play. There are systems that play on different aspects of your psychology to try and get you to spend some money, because there are obviously different ways to get a customer to part with their dollar. And I think that Netmarble, and I think that this game in particular, does a really good job of that, because they're very transparent with what you get. You want to spend in my currency $93.99. This is exactly what you're going to get. You can go and math it out if you're not like me, if you can work a calculator, and you can figure out how much are those 2,200 crystals worth. It's worth roughly 3 uniforms when they're on sale. You can see the exact value of your dollar and exactly what it's going to get you, okay? There is no uniform randomizer. There's no uniform chest where you buy the chest and it could be one of these like 70 uniforms. I actually don't even know how many uniforms there are. There are 78 uniforms. I just counted. That's what jump cuts are for, guys. So there's no randomization there in the store, okay? You buy even something like the 20 biometrics daily. Yes, it's doled out to you in a slow drip fashion, but you get the choice. You have control over where your money is being spent, okay? Now, there are certain packs in the store where there is some randomness to it. Obviously, the hero chests come to mind, the card chests, the custom gear chest, and the dimension ISO 8 chests, but nobody buys those, and I hope if you are buying them that you stop, because it's bad and it's random, okay? So I think that it's pretty clear that Netmarble has a very transparent, and I think it's a very valuable and value-laden system. You want to spend money, you can spend money, and how you spend your money is very clear. You're going to spend this much, you're going to get that much. You're going to spend this much, you're going to receive that much. So even though I may have spent $30 or $40 getting Dormammu, I wasn't, potentially getting another character that I didn't want. I was getting the one specific character I wanted and nothing else. If I buy the daily, holy shit, if I buy the daily biometrics pack and I only want to get Hulkling, that's my fucking choice, and I can do that, and that's fantastic, okay? Price aside, I think that's great. Giving the consumer the choice in how they're spending their money is very valuable, and a lot of other games do this very well. So that's the Marvel Future Fight system. Let's look at a different system in a different game. So in a game like this, for example, which if you guys aren't familiar, this is Transformers Forged to Fight, I have a crystal which activates on the space bridge and then will randomly give me a hero. I can tap to stop, but as you guys can see, I have no control over what I'm getting. It's totally, say it with me now, random. Okay, I got Sideswipe. That's great. I'm gonna Sideswipe out of this game because I really don't want to play it. But this kind of system where you have a random reward that they show you a list of possible rewards, but your reward is always random, even when you're actually spending money to buy these crystals or gems or shards or boxes, whatever it might be, like opening up a present. This kind of system where it's random is called a gacha or gachapon system, okay? And it comes from Japan, if you guys are not familiar. It's been popular in Japanese mobile games for a long time, and up until 2012 it wasn't even a regulated system where basically Japanese game developers could put as much of the gacha system where you get random rewards in their game as they wanted to entice their player base to spend money. Now this random pay system, this gacha system that's prevalent in games like Contest of Champions, Hearthstone, and a bunch of others that I'm sure you guys can think of. The difference between that and something like this is that there's no transparency. There is a list of potential rewards, but imagine it this way. You buy these 20 biometrics daily, but the biometrics daily that you get are actually random. So every day for 30 days, it goes and it chooses one character between all 116, and that's the one you get. So you could get lucky and land on Carnage 3 or 4 days in a row, or you could get screwed and land on Hulkling for 30 days straight. Now, of course, you guys will say there's always the law of large numbers, that you'll eventually get lucky. And that's why the gacha system is so successful, because it almost simulates that gambler's feeling. I'm gonna get lucky. And it's been proven in studies and stuff like that, or at least it's been shown to be probably true, that these gacha systems are almost like gambling. And that's why the Japanese government at least prohibited them in a lot of ways starting in 2012. More recently, there was even a man, to give you guys a real world example, in a Japanese game entitled Grand Blue Fantasy that spent $6,000 in one night trying to get an event character. So imagine it like this. A new character comes to Marvel Future Fight. Let's call him Logan. But you can't get Logan with the bio selectors. You can't get Logan with a mega rank up ticket. That would be too easy. That would only cost you like $5. Instead, you have to go in and you have to buy the new Logan boxes. They're these special boxes made by Ryan Reynolds, and they have Logan inside, or maybe they don't. And you have to pay $1 for each Logan box, and you could get Logan, or you could get some other booby prize like Xavier's wheelchair parts or Caliban's fucking do-rag that he wears to cover his mouth. Okay? So imagine that were the case, and then you have to keep spending money hoping that you're going to get those Logan bios that are in the Logan box, the special event Logan box. So there's different kinds of gachas. There's event gachas, there's social gachas where you have to invite enough friends into the game and have them play in order to get more of these boxes or crystals and amass them in order to potentially get a good character. And it makes for some entertaining clips on YouTube. It makes for some entertaining gameplay at times, I will admit. And it does scratch that gambler's itch and that collector's itch simultaneously, but it comes at a cost. And the cost is your wallet. And in general, the most successful games, actually more than half, and you guys can go look up these numbers if you don't believe me, more than half of all of the top grossing games on the App Store employ these gacha tactics to try and get more money and apparently more problems. So it's in stark contrast to what we have in Marvel Future Fight, and I just wanted to educate you guys and shed some light on it in case you guys ever had the feeling that you were getting ripped off or scammed. Because trust me, it can get a lot worse than this. And not to say that gachas aren't good, because they can be used effectively. You know, Fire Emblems does it in a very elegant way, and they do it in a way that doesn't feel like you're getting ripped off, like it's cheap, like you're just being exploited for your money. There's ways of having gachas included in games where you're just grinding. Like, for example, you could have a mode where you have to grind in timeline a certain number of times. Let's say you have unlimited entries, but you have to get a certain number of wins in order to get a biometric box that could have a specific amount of bios for a character. Basically, the closest thing that we would have in Future Fight right now to a gacha system is probably Battle World, where you amass a certain number of wins, you're put into a bracket based on your points, and then based on that ranking, you'll get a certain number of bios, and then lucky winners at 70 or 77, 777, 7,777, etc. will get a much bigger payout, which is random, okay? And I was doing this at the beginning of the video, going and buying the honor card chests and the chaos card or chaos token chests, because this is basically what it would amount to. If this was how you used your money to get bios in this game, this is what it would feel like, guys. Imagine if Future Fight was like this. So the next time you want to complain about Carnage, the next time you want to gripe about the fact that there are paywall characters in this game, that there are a few characters, you know, probably what, 2% of the characters, 3% of the characters in the game, let's say 5% of the characters in the game are paid only. Imagine if the only way to get bios was like this, and it was totally random, and it was just a big crapshoot. Netmarble would make a lot more money. We'd probably have more players in the game, perhaps, if we had the X-Men. But I think it would be a shittier overall experience. So, although there is both good and bad psychology to both of these systems, and although you can't say definitively which system is better, I prefer this system, where even if I have to spend more money to get a champion or a hero, I know exactly what I'm getting with my dollar. I'm not going and buying a booby prize potentially, and then that feels bad moment where I get nothing out of it. Okay, guys, so I wanted to let you guys know, and I wanted to shed some light on this topic because I think it's important, and I think that it will become more important as the game progresses into later stages where it tries to introduce more of these kinds of in-app purchases. And while I don't wholeheartedly support them without evidence that they are valuable, I do come to the table and I do start the discussion with all of this knowledge in my head about how it could look, how it could be worse, and how it could be potentially better. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know what your thoughts are on this situation. Do you have a kind of harrowing experience with a game that preyed on your psychology and kind of made you spend more money than you wanted to? Have you spent more money than you wanted to on this game? I probably have as well, but I'm not too salty about it. And of course, guys, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.